I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. I am your host, Rich. This is Idris Salam, and we are doing our gangster movie preview.
Yes, sir.
Preview, review. We're gonna rank them. Yeah, no sports related stuff tonight. It's all about the movies.
We're versatile, man. We're versatile.
You know what's messing me up? I put on the TV, to kind of check the show, and I realized that we're on a little bit of a delay.
Oh, really?
On the not here, but on the actual TVs. I'm gonna stop looking at the screen for a minute. Yeah, it's bugging me out because usually it's like a little closer, so it might be maybe my TV YouTube is lagging just a little bit. All good. Yeah. But as many a list here, I'm gonna do one kind of like the 1 through 10 is kind of how I did. I'm not speaking for Idris for myself, but we're gonna get on these, and Idris will chime in if I got this right or if I need to change a few things.
All right.
So we're starting with just missing the cut. Not saying that these weren't excellent movies, but not everybody could be in the top 10.
Right.
And kind of going this way.
Let's see what we got here.
Yeah, a lot of snaps.
We're getting gangster tonight.
The Godfather Part 3. All right. I felt that this was, over time, a movie that aged a little better. However, I think the issue with this movie was that you're missing a major character in Tom Hagen, who was huge in the first two Godfathers, Robert Duvall. That was a huge loss for the Godfather series. I also think that they missed a grand opportunity because they were supposed to land Winona Ryder for this.
I would have loved that too.
Yeah, ultimately it was Francis Ford Coppola's granddaughter.
Yeah.
How do you think she did in this movie, Idris, all in all?
I think she did good. I think she did good. I was young when it came out. Well, not real young, but you're talking Godfather 3, right?
This is part 3.
Okay, yeah. I think she did good. I think she played a good role, but I would have preferred, what's the name to do it.
Winona Ryder supposedly was the original choice. The biggest reason why the Tom Hagen character didn't return is because he wanted equal pay to Al Pacino.
Yeah, and
you lose a lot of heart in a movie like that. But I think over time, and they kind of redid it, and I think it aged better than it was received when it first came out. And I almost think it's not fair when you consider that it's almost not fair because of how legendary the first two were. This came out if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like the early 90s, like 1990, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
But kind of tells a tale of how kind of like the moral issues with the Michael Corleone character ultimately catch up with him. I think that would be the best and fairest way to say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
but
it.
No, I mean, the movie wasn't bad. I just
no,
think
the movie was good.
What up, John? How you doing, bro? You're kind of rolling on some gangster movies. Just one thing about the month of February and now into March, before March Madness and before baseball and before, free agency totally hits full bloom, we have a little bit of we gotta do a few different things.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say I got this right in terms of just missing the cut.
All right.
We're going to move this along, and some people might scoff that I even put this in the gangster movie category, but I will explain myself.
Okay.
Tombstone.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm questioning that, too.
I'm going to explain myself. That
was a good movie, though. Good movie,
If this was a Westerns category, this could be top 4.
Yeah.
The reason why I even so much as put this in a gangster movie is for the sheer fact that the Cowboys, going back into that, integral part of history, is considered the first form of organized crime.
Yeah.
Doc Holliday character, Wyatt Earp, the Earp brothers. I think it did a decent part in telling the historical story of the shootout at the OK Corral.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of Westerns, it's up there. But like I said, if this is a Westerns list, it is undeniably very high. It gets an honorable mention on just missing the cut for gangster movies, like I said, because essentially in that era of the country, that was still essentially organized crime, being the Cowboys. But Tombstone, definitely worth a watch. If we're going on a 10 scale, where would you put this just in terms of being a movie alone? Just from the sake of that.
I'm gonna give it a strong 9.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning in that area. 8.5 or a 9. By the way, just to revisit the previous movie, I'm giving The Godfather 3 a 6. I'm gonna give him a 7 out of respect. But honestly, you can go with like a 6.5 on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 6.5 on The Godfather 3 too.
But like I said, it had to get an honorable mention. A lot of people are gonna be like, "That's a Western." Nah, think about it.
That was a good movie, man. That was a good movie.
No question. It was a good movie. No question. All right, moving it along here for a second. We've got Gotti. Now, I'm not talking about that trash pail that John Travolta was in. This is a monosat.
That was a travesty, dude.
Yeah, that was terrible, bro. When you watch any movie that's like based on a life, you want to feel like you learned something, that you walk away with knowing something that you didn't already know.
Yeah.
And in the one that Travolta did about a decade or so ago, it just wasn't on that level. But this movie here, which was actually produced on HBO, I think it just told a full, worthy story of how John Gotti came into prominence in the Gambino crime family, his humble beginnings, ultimately how he gets jammed up, and, after righteously earning the name the Teflon Don, eventually going to jail. But I don't think there could have been a better actor for this role.
Yeah, I think with the one Travolta, it was just too Hollywood. It was just too Hollywood. To where this one kind of reminds me of. I'm trying to think of a gangster movie that really, really nailed it. I can't really think of any really right offhand because we're live, we're on the fly. But this right here actually told. I mean, with me, I was never really a fan of John Gotti, the man. Because I mean I follow a lot of mafia history, going back to Luciano Maranzano and all that stuff. I wasn't a fan of Gotti, and I know I've saw a lot of his documentaries and everything. Because I just thought he was one of the reasons why the mob fell, because he was too flamboyant. However, this was good in telling his story. I think they did a good job and they picked the right guy.
And truthfully, going back to that era in the 90s where HBO was kind of exploring, doing these kind of movies based on people. The Tyson movie, obviously not a gangster movie, but just to show their range, I thought the Tyson movie, now this is the part of Tyson's life where he actually went away for the conviction in the rape case. For I think it was I don't know if it was Black Miss America or Black
Black Miss America,
Miss Black Teen America, because I know Desiree Washington was young. I think she was about 18 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was black. It was just one of them.
Yeah, but Mike got hemmed up in that, and he did a bit in Indiana.
Yeah,
and but back to this, no, I honestly I think about it, I'm like, who would play him better? And I personally think like the character, even going back to the Sopranos, like Johnny Sack's character.
Yeah,
Johnny Sack. I felt like to a level they loosely tried to mimic Gotti through that character on a couple of metrics, but nah, man. Gotti, excellent job, HBO.
I agree. I wasn't a fan of Gotti because I'm a big mafia guy. I love the history about the mafia, but I think it's that Gotti tell a real good tale and really nailed it. I liked it. I would give it I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go 10 on that because of the accuracy, who played him and everything. So
I think when it comes to that, I think a big part of all of it is just the sheer fact that you have to be able to bring the authenticity.
Yeah,
and I think that movie succeeded in doing that.
It did. It really did. And I know Gotti's history from, I've been reading about the mafia for years. I grew up not too far from where his stomping ground was in the Bronx, and I've always been infatuated with them. And seeing that and seeing the documentaries I've seen on him, and it's like they really took their time and say, okay, we're gonna get this right.
Yeah, and like I said, the Travolta flick was just disappointing on a lot of levels and layers because of the sheer fact.
It was too Hollywood. It was too Hollywood for me, man. Absolutely. I like Travolta too. I love him. Yeah, Gotti was great. I loved it. I'm gonna go with 10 on that.
All right. Another honorable mention right here. Raheem! I think this personally was the first movie that truly put Tupac Shakur on the map.
Yeah.
Because if you think about this time in his career, in terms of rap, he was not a household name yet. No. I mean, he got some breaks. I remember when I was real young, the first time I even so much as knew his name was when he made an appearance on In Living Color.
Yeah.
To age myself a little, he got a couple of spots on the Arsenio Hall show.
Yeah.
But this movie, I tell you, like, a lot of people talk about the fateful 1996, how his life was unceremoniously ended. But, one thing about Tupac, and, being that he went to the Baltimore School for the Performing Arts, is that he really sunk into any role that he ever took on.
Yeah.
And I think this movie was truly exemplary of it. To me, this was a game changer in a lot of ways, because every actor in this movie took a big leap after the fact. Omar Epps was still a baby in Hollywood.
Oh, man.
This was a huge movie. This was a huge movie for a lot of young people that elevated their careers after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, man, the thing about this movie is I still play the soundtrack I love this movie. What you know, as a DJ, of course I liked it because they had the little DJ battle, blah 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 blah. So I was hype about that. Yeah, I love Juices. The soundtrack was nice, and the movie. It really anyone who grew up. I mean, this could be any neighborhood in America. For me, I grew up in the Bronx, and all four of them epitomize the homies I hung with. We had a guy like Q. We had one like Raheem. We had one like Big Stuff. We had, we had those guys, and we always had a Rodamez. The guy who had the little crew that's always starting stuff. And I love Juice, man. Juice was just.
Juice and there were a lot of heavy hitters that took small roles in this. Because if you remember, Samuel L. Jackson was in this.
Yep.
And this is before he blew up.
Yep.
Latifah was in this.
Latifah in there. Your tape is whack. You don't nobody like the records you play. Flex was in there. In the video room, Pete Rock and CL Smooth was sitting in there.
That is correct.
The thing about it, their song "1 in a Million" was playing in the background.
Yes, indeed. And
your girl from In Vogue was in there.
No, there were a lot of guest cameos. And the thing is, with this movie too, is like similar how I go back to what I liked about the Gotti movie.
Yeah,
authenticity is what wins in these kind of movies, because especially being shot where it was in New York City, it's like you got to hit that correctly, and it has to resonate with the locals in order for it to be accepted on a better scale.
Yeah,
that's why if you look at a great action star like, say, a Jackie Chan, he had a lot of awesome movies when he made his crossover into the United States, but a lot of people were pissy about Rumble in the Bronx because the damn thing was filmed in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love Jackie Chan.
But
when that turned off a lot of folks.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, huh? I was like, what the hell? They did a good job, but yeah. Whatever, man. Yeah, Juice, I'm gonna go 9. The reason I'm gonna go 9, I hate that what was his name? That robbed the little bar with the shotgun in the beginning.
Yes.
EPMD was sitting in there too. I forgot they were sitting at the bar also. I forgot his name, but he got killed in the movie. But it said, what's his name got killed because he died. I forgot his name. I got his face in my head. But
even the soundtrack, bro. Like Know the Ledge, Eric B and Rakim.
Yeah, I love that soundtrack, man.
Soundtrack was huge. This was what elevated Tupac into like a mega star, in my opinion, because he started getting role after role after this.
Yeah, he did.
And Tupac was actually supposed to be, if I'm not mistaken, he was supposed to be a menace to society, but he had that issue with the Hughes brothers.
Right, exactly. And they put what's his name in this place? Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in that.
Yeah.
Another honorable mention. The reason I'm not going to post a picture for this movie cover is because of the sheer fact that I don't want Sean Combs' face on my show.
You know what? And the thing about this is the only thing I like he made.
I must admit, I think Puffy did a hell of a job in this movie. Jay Hernandez played the role of a young Carlito Brigante. It was a prequel to a classic that was made years earlier, which was the original Carlito's Way, which was actually a book.
Yeah.
Originally, some folks don't know that. That was actually a book.
Yep. I'll be honest with you, man. I love this. I like Carlito's Way, but I like Rise of Power more.
Well, it had enough. It had enough juice to it where it was really good.
Yeah.
And a couple of others that I wanted to put on my honorable mentions. We got Al Pacino in Scarface.
Oh.
This is the thing, right? When it comes to Scarface, I believe that for the time it was good.
Yeah.
And it was accurate.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the scene in Miami, being so close to Cuba, that time in America for people that were coming over from Cuba. And, the rags to riches kind of story of Tony Montana. But ultimately, he let the greed and the power and, let's be real, the cocaine get to him. But the thing with this flick is that over time, I personally don't think it aged well. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's on, I'll watch it. But I don't think it aged well in the sense of like when you think about the other roles that Pacino has taken on in his reign.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're talking Devil's Advocate. You're talking even that show that he's doing now, Hunters, about Holocaust survivors.
I think. Yeah,
go ahead. No,
I think when it came out, it wasn't all that. I'm not gonna lie. I saw it. I was in Germany. I had just got to Germany, and I saw it. I liked it. I liked it. I was young though, just barely 17, getting over there. I liked it, but it didn't really move the needle. But when hip hop was making its rise, and hip hop snatched it up, the sales went through the roof with Scar. It became a classic after that. Because Al Pacino, I remember an interview. Al Pacino said, I think it's on 25th anniversary. He said he thanked hip hop. He said, I thank hip hop because without hip hop, this movie would never have.
Yeah, it kind of made a resurrection 20 years. Because it's funny that you say that because I remember as a Christmas gift when I was visiting my father in Puerto Rico. It was that year, the 20th anniversary. And he had gotten me a gift of like gangster movie set. And this was among them. And I guess, like, how do I say this the right way? I'll just do the best I could. I think Al Pacino, he's played different cultures. I think he played a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. And I think he played a Holocaust survivor, just to give you two examples. And we all know that what he did in The Godfathers, which are going to be more than likely at the top of my list here. It's just Pacino with that Cuban accent. It doesn't hit right with me.
Well, see, he said Stephen Bauer, the one that played Manolo, he said, because Stephen Bauer, he's actually Cuban.
Yes, sir.
And he he had to teach Al Pacino, and Al Pacino said he had to teach him how to say certain things and da-da-da-da. And see, I think that's where people. Well, from what I can remember, that's what people was like, he don't sound like a real Cuban, da 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 da. True, he didn't. But it's one of those. You said what?
I think the thing that messed with people is that when this movie came out, if I'm not mistaken, I think this movie came out in 83.
So yeah, 81, 82, 83, somewhere around. Yeah, like 82, 83, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and I think because we already saw him as Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
And we saw him in other roles. It was a little hard to see him in that one.
Yeah.
Now, Carlito's Way, oddly enough, the original.
Yeah.
I feel that particular one aged a lot better than people give it credit for. And we're going to hit that in just a bit. We're going to approach our top 10. Now, once again, this is only according to me.
All right.
We've got Casino.
I forgot about Casino. Val Kilmer.
That is number
De Niro,
10.
Yeah, that was good.
Joe Pesci in this, the role of Nicky Santoro, which is also the name of my real life godfather. That is true.
And that's based on the true story too, Casino.
Yes, it is. Kind of like just the boom of Vegas at the time. I think Sharon Stone did a phenomenal job in this.
I love Sharon Stone, man. I love that woman, man. I think Sharon Stone. I mean, she gets her props, but I don't think she gets it like she should.
Well, Sharon sometimes people get forgotten.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just the thing. Sometimes people do get forgotten.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I love her, man.
No, I think this movie did a great job. And so many movies that have to do with organized crime, anything gangster related, anything casino related, it's always a tale of how it's either greed that gets you, or it's an overinvestment in another person that you overtrust. In this case, that's what happened here in this movie. But, you know, Joe Pesci in typical Joe Pesci form, causing all kinds of trouble, similar to like how he did in Goodfellas.
The pest. Joe Pesci.
Yes. Yeah. Joe Pesci is a tall 5'3" or whatever have you.
I love me some Joe Pesci. I don't know a movie that he made that I didn't like.
I got to admit that I'm with you on that, because
I love Joe Pesci, man.
I mean, even on the comedic level, when he messed around with the Home Alone movies, you know, the guy's a legend. The guy's a legend through and through.
Joe Pesci, yeah, I love Joe Pesci. Casino, I'm gonna give it. Dang, I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 9. I said it's a true story. Well, a lot of stuff is based on a true story, should I say? Yeah. Why not giving it a 10? I don't know. Yeah, I give it a 10. I give it a 10.
All right, we're gonna go into another one that makes my top 10. We're gonna call this 10B.
All right.
10B. Just bear with me, because we're kind of doing this on the fly.
Oh, okay.
Which I think makes a better conversation too, because you don't want it to be all structured too much, because we're kind of just having a free-flowing conversation.
Yeah.
About some cinema. 10B.
Ah, look at you and your dad. You actually full of
10B, A Bronx Tale.
You know what?
That is the loser of all losers, Eddie Mush, in the background.
Yeah. Get him out of here. With me, I'm moving Bronx Tale up. I'm gonna see what the whole list is first, but I'm moving it up above. If I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna put. Well, you got it. I'm gonna put. I will put that 10A, or depending on what you got on 9, I'll put that 9. Yeah, I do as a Bronx native, man. I love this movie, man.
Oh no, I'll be honest with you, bro. Quite possibly my favorite movie ever.
Yeah,
the only reason,
this is my top 3, dude.
Yeah, the only reason why I put this as low as I did.
Yeah.
If this was like just a favorite movies list, or just, you know, ranking it, it would be higher. Right. I think it's more of a life tale and a life lesson than it is a gangster movie, although it did feature the gangster element in the actual movie.
It is, because Chaz Palminteri, he said that was the story of his life, because that's his name. Colosimo is his name.
Yes.
Yeah. And he said that, so basically it is you know.
Yeah, through the eyes of Chaz, and you know, he has a play that is still going to this day. But you know, essentially the root and moral of the story is a father trying to save his son, his only child, from a life of crime, and trying to steer him more into the family dynamic, his view of what family looks like, his view of what winning looks like. And you know, you talk about we talked about this in the past on the show, but given the time of it, you know, you talk about invisible boundaries. You know, you talk about soundtracks. You know, Bronx Tale soundtrack is nothing short of phenomenal.
You know, my favorite song on that soundtrack is, and it was my favorite before I seen the movie. Take a guess.
What was that again?
I only have eyes for you. That song, I only have eyes for you.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite ballad of all time by the Flamingos. That's my
that was a damn good soundtrack. You got Dion and the Belmonts on there.
Belmont. That soundtrack is now the soundtrack. I'm gonna get
Aaron Neville's on there.
Aaron Neville's
Jimi
on there.
Hendrix is on there.
Solid soundtrack.
And it speaks. It speaks to you got Sinatra on there. It speaks to the time.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of ranges from the late 50s into part of the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some great scenes in that movie. You know, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
when Colangelo is walking Jane Terrell
Mm-hmm.
Hicks
Yeah.
home, and when it puts on full display about what we say about invisible boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
you see Colangelo, who didn't really have any of that hate in his heart,
Mm-hmm.
but he hung out with people that did.
Yeah.
And then Jane's brother, with nothing more than a beatdown over race, no other reason.
Yeah.
You know, and this is something that was going on in those times.
You know, it's funny about Colangelo, and I might have told you, like when we grew up in the neighborhood we grew up in was mainly we was one of black families on the block, and the Italian family that stayed right next. We had Italian family on the left of us, Jamaican family on the right, but the block was basically Italian. We knew it was mafia. We knew because we seen what was going on. I was the one black kid who was C in that neighborhood because we didn't have that much money. I was the one kid that ran a little errands here, ran a errands there. See, my mother knew to the point the family next door, they ran everything, and we didn't know that until the old man died. And they befriended my mother, and my mother didn't have to work as much because I was doing runs, and they would help us out. They got to the point to where they would babysit me and my brother, feed us till my mother came home from work. You know, and the only thing we did was like we helped, we cut their grass. We worked. They put us to work, which was good because we learned our work ethic from them. We worked. We helped clean the house. We cut the grass. And we did all the stuff we got out of school. They sat us down, did our homework. Da 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 da. And I said I learned a lot of my life lessons. And people say, well, no, I learned a lot of my life lessons. A lot of them from Italians. A lot of them. In fact, I would say 60 to 70% of my life lessons were learned from Italians. That's why I've always studied their culture, because I know how they are with family and loyalty and stuff like that. But this movie right here, when it first came out, I said I gotta watch it again.
No, undeniably, I'll be honest with you, it is more than likely my all-time favorite movie, and it's dear to my heart for a litany of reasons. It's also the last movie I ever saw with my grandfather.
Oh, word.
Yeah. My grandfather passed in a decade after this movie came out. But
okay.
Watching it was my grandfather's first time actually watching it, because my grandfather wasn't a big movie guy.
Oh, okay.
He was a big sports guy and a big card player.
Yeah.
He used to be an athlete. But truthfully, very fond memories of this movie for a litany of reasons. But yes, Bronx Tale, can't go wrong.
Before we move on, I got to ask you a question. Eliminating C, Chaz, Robert De Niro, who was your two favorite characters? And eliminate what's up, Terrell Hicks too. Who is your two favorite characters?
Yeah, because just on appearance alone, Terrell Hicks would probably jump the list. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Of course. She could have been Terrell Hicks. That's another story for another day.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Chaz Palminteri, undeniably.
No. I mean, eliminating them out. You can't. No Chaz, no Robert De Niro.
Okay, no Chaz, no Robert De Niro, and both Colangelos are disqualified, as well as Jane
and Terry Hicks. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna go.
And Maria Torme too. She's not in it either.
All right. I'm gonna go probably with.
You got two.
I'm gonna go with that knucklehead in the background right there, Eddie Mush. Just because it was so damn funny, the whole degenerate gambler angle. And gotta think about this for a moment. I'm gonna go. Believe it or not, although it was in just a cameo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Pesci because of the fact that it circumnavigated the story back to the very beginning of how this all came to be and how he met Sonny.
Yeah.
I liked Jimmy Whispers.
Yeah.
Sonny's right hand. I liked him in that movie.
Yeah, I'm going. Actually, I'm going the same way. Whispers and Mush.
All right.
I'll
tell you who I didn't like was Frankie Coffee Cakes.
Oh man, because his
That
face
was
like a great
one.
coffee cake.
That was one ugly man.
You know what? That's so good about the show. How he was, he was introducing people. Outside the coffee cake, he called like his face like a coffee.
Yeah, a lot of good scenes in this movie, but I would say my favorite scene is probably outside of him walking her around. Mm-hmm. I would say the bar fight with the bikers.
The bar fight. I actually leave. Now you can't leave.
A young Rob Schneider was one of the bikers.
Wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
I was about to say that.
Young Rob Schneider was amongst the motorcycle gang that took the beat down.
Yeah.
Great movie. Phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
Gonna move this along to King of New York.
Okay, what's my favorite line in that movie? Let me see. I got to give a line for each movie you put up. I guess I'll use. Dang. I don't know. If there's a dime bag sold in the park, I want a piece. They was Star Wars locked up.
Christopher Walken.
Ah, man.
What more can you say?
Yeah.
I mean, the Frank White character, and you talk about hip hop helping a movie.
Yeah. Oh, man.
The career, albeit short, of the late, great Christopher Wallace, who's one of his rap nicknames was Frank White.
Yep.
King of New York.
Yep. As
he proclaimed himself to be during that era of very competitive East Coast rap music amongst the better lyricists in the East Coast, in New York primarily. You had Raekwon, you had Nas.
Yeah.
Of course, you had Biggie. You still had the God Rakim, the God MC.
Yep.
Jigga was not long behind those guys. But these are the bigger names in terms of that were doing it on the mainstream level. You still had your legends like your KRS-Ones, Melly Mel, a lot of legends. But the point to be made is they brought this, they put a little resuscitation on this movie. Lawrence Fishburne, before he was so distinguished in Hollywood, he went by Larry Fishburne.
Did he?
Larry Fishburne.
That's probably one. I think that's the only movie he played where he played a gangster or a villain that I can think of.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to hit you with one more that's going to jog your memory back.
All right.
But
I love this right here. Yeah. Him and Wesley Snipes, it's funny because you look at those two actors and say, wow, look how their careers just shot up. And early in their careers, they clashed in the movie.
Wesley Snipes, it is interesting.
Fishburne was
interesting how that worked out.
Yeah.
Because this was more of like, David Caruso was in this. NYPD Blue fame.
Yep.
David Caruso was in this.
There's really no way, I didn't like
nice
him in the
way
movie.
to say this.
He played a good role, but I didn't like him.
It was a grimy movie.
It was grimy. It was dark. It was a dark movie. Dark and grimy. Yeah, I didn't like David Caruso. In that movie, I couldn't stand him. He played a great role. Don't get me wrong, but I couldn't stand him. I was like,
well, truth be told, I didn't really care for him on NYPD Blue, and I embraced more so Jimmy Smits.
Yeah.
You know, Sipowicz, is what it is.
I like Steve Buscemi's role too, Test Tube.
No question.
Copacetic.
No question. No, that was a good one, bro.
Yeah.
Very good one. All right, moving it along. At number 8, I've got Menace to Society.
All right. Let me see. What line can I pull from that?
I had to kind of go back and forth between this and Boys in the Hood. Because I think when you think about movies in that era, they're the two movies, particularly because they're based in the same area, that constantly get the most, I would say, probably just the most comparisons. Both have similar, how would you say, good guys that you're rooting for under damn near insurmountable circumstances, I think would be the right way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did you take from this the most? This movie. There's a lot of ways that you could say, but what did you take most from this?
It's a life lesson. It was a life lesson because
I
you got a
kind of
guy.
view it as that as well,
Mhm.
in a more up in your face way than say a Bronx Tale.
Yeah, yeah. Because Kane, it's like he was in the streets. Da 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 da. He meet Jada, which that's why Will Smith should have realized that she was trouble. But
Indeed.
that's another. And he was ready to get off the streets. He's ready to get it done, and da 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 da, and then bam. I liked it. I liked it a lot. It just goes to show karma. What you do will affect you in the end. Because remember, everything started in the beginning. Then at the end, whatever happened in the beginning, caught him at the end of the movie.
Yeah, yeah, and that is also a theme amongst a lot of these movies that are the points of topic today. Is that there's a decent amount of these where the mistakes that you make early, or maybe you're slipping early, will come back and bite you.
Yeah. With me, I'm putting the Bronx Tale up. I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it above that. I'm dropping Menace to Society down to like. I guess I'm dropping it down right above Juice. I'm bringing a Bronx Tale up to right here to 8. And yeah, I'm leaving Casino at 10A. I'm making this 10B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the easiest to rank, and like I said,
I like it though. I love the movie though.
I struggled with this in Boys in the Hood, and I don't think it's big surprise. I got Boys in the Hood at 7.
I'm flipping that in a Bronx Tale, but I love Boys in the Hood too. Another tale, another life tale.
Yeah, most definitely another life tale. Just really hard hitting, bro.
Yeah,
there ain't no nice way to put it when it came to a movie like that.
Yeah,
just hard hitting. I think once again, something that is so very important, like we said about making a movie based in the East Coast, like a Juice, like a Bronx Tale. If you're going 40 years earlier than Juice in terms of the time that it represents, I think this part of the country during these years, you had a lot of conflict going on in LA, particularly like this was right around the era of the riots as well.
Yeah.
And not long after that, the trial of the century also, definitely was revved by the things going on there. But do you agree that I did right by ranking this higher than Menace to Society?
Yeah. Because I see this as basically the standard of that type of movie.
Yes, where I think Menace to Society, I'm not trying to take a jab at anybody in the movie, but I had made mention at the top of the hour that Tupac was almost the guy that landed that role.
Yeah.
And I believe that if he would have, it might have been a better movie.
I think so too. Because he had more energy, No,
I tend to agree. Who's your favorite character in Boys in the Hood?
Oh man. What's his name? The one big guy that was like, what was his name? The one that had the car. He said, "Ain't no y'all ain't playing this in my ride." That was my boy.
And just to let y'all know, the fella right here getting ready to do some damage. He was also in Poetic Justice.
Briefly, yeah.
He took out Q-Tip. Q-Tip was in there even briefer.
Yep.
Yeah, Q-Tip played the boyfriend of Janet Jackson. Ultimately, Tupac was replaced in Poetic Justice later in the movie.
He got murdered in prison, right?
Say that again, please.
He got murdered in prison.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was in there with some dude. I forgot what the guy was in there for, but
I was not aware of this story.
Yeah, the guy killed him, man, and drew a pentagram with his blood and laid him in the middle. Yeah, look him up.
Man. Oh man. I was
He
not aware of that.
A lot of people from that movie died. He died. Somebody, the one that played, the one that had the Doogie, the one that had the pacifier in his mouth.
Yes.
He got killed. He got killed right after Poetic Justice.
Wow.
The irony about it is, you know how they rolled up. He rolled up in the car, talking to Q-Tip or whatever, something like that, at the little car show. He said, "We're gonna take care of him," whatever. He got killed the same way. He was at a car show and someone shot him. Yeah. I can't hear you, man. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
That is eerie.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
That's wild, bro.
The Boy in the Hood was dope. Yeah.
I had no idea that happened.
And the guy in the wheelchair, he's really in the wheelchair. The thing about it is, he's still doing a lot of stuff. Man. He was saying how he talked about the movie, and he said he wanted to be in the movie. They wanted someone else, but he said, "No, I want to be in this movie," because he wanted to be in the wheelchair. They wanted to make scenes where you couldn't see him in the wheelchair, because they didn't want to write a scene how he got in there.
And I think part of what makes like the authenticity of it legit is that some people in these movies were essentially in the life, and that is also what gives it the authentic value.
Yeah.
You know, even if you look at like The Sopranos, Tony Cicero, that dude had quite the lengthy criminal past.
Yes.
Yeah, Paulie Walnuts, recently passed away. I'm gonna say a little over a year, about 2 years ago, I believe.
Who's this again?
The character from The Sopranos.
Oh, Tony. Yeah. About a year ago, year and a half ago. Yeah.
All right. At number 6, and you were saying about you didn't remember certain movies with Lawrence Fishburne. Well, here's a good one. Hoodlum. Playing Bumpy Johnson.
I forgot about that. Clarence Williams III playing the other. Oh man, I forgot about this.
This was a good one. This was a really good one. You had Andy Garcia in here.
Yeah, he played Lucky Luciano. I loved it.
Tim Roth in here. This was a badass movie. Vanessa Williams, who I'm a big fan of. This was it. And more recently, Forrest Whitaker, if I'm not mistaken, revitalizing the Bumpy Johnson character in a series.
Yeah, in Hoodlum. I mean, Godfather of Harlem.
King of Harlem, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Godfather of Harlem. Yeah.
Yeah, Godfather of Harlem. Thank you. No, this was a dope movie.
Yeah.
This was good.
You know what's so funny about this movie? I loved it. I loved Tim Roth's part. I didn't realize he was British until I seen what's the movie with him and Tupac? Gridlocked.
That was actually released after Tupac passed away.
Yeah, he did an interview. And I said, he's British. But if you listen to him in Hoodlum, he sounds Italian. I love Tim Roth, man. Tim Roth, he played at Dutch Schultz, man. Good movie. You there?
No, I was just checking the screen for a second.
Oh, okay. I thought you was having a moment.
No. I was checking out my TV and it went dark for a second, came back on.
Oh, okay.
Nah,
yeah,
man.
this movie was solid.
I actually saw this in the theater. Now, taking into consideration, I was probably not mature enough to take everything I needed to take away from this movie when I saw it, because when I was a kid, my brother and I, Eddie and my mom would sneak us into a lot of movies. Because, they were like, shit, we ain't seeing any of these if we they used to sneak, a couple of shortcuts, open the door in the back, just let them in. Yeah. But I think my favorite scene, or just like the story of it, was Bumpy Johnson trying to get his soul right.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I guess you could say, separate but not equal would be a great way to put the Bumpy Johnson character versus those who he had to go against. Whereas the other families, so to speak, did not necessarily respect what was going on in Harlem. They kind of saw it as like some kind of half-ass production, so to speak.
Yeah.
And they were fighting for quite a bit. This movie was excellent. My favorite character in it was Dutch Schultz's character, Tim Roth, just because of like the ruthlessness.
Oh, he didn't care.
Yeah. He was wild. I think Andy Garcia, this is one of those movies that really made people realize how good he was.
Yeah, and this, thing about this, like I said, I study a lot of gangster movies, and that's how Dutch Schultz was. Well, Hood was pretty much based like on a true story, just the family of Thomas Dewey. They didn't like how Dewey was portrayed as someone who's on the take or whatever. But the situation between Bumpy, Luciano, and Dutch Schultz, that was true. Because Schultz wanted to kill Dewey, and Luciano's like no. And in real life, that's how it was. And Lucky said, no, he got to go because we can't afford to be having no DA murder. I love this movie, man.
And ultimately, what swung the power thing was that Luciano, to a level, kind of helped Bumpy Johnson.
Yeah, in real life,
that's ultimately what swung it in the way the movie was. I'd give this a solid 8. This was a good flick.
Yeah.
Is there anything I didn't like about this movie? To a level, I think some of the supporting actors outside of the Queen, amongst Bumpy's camp, could have been a little better or a little better portrayed. If there's anything, I think that would be a knock I have. But this was a good flick.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
On number 5, I've got The Departed.
I wanted to see that movie. I saw it, but I didn't see the whole thing. I dozed off when I woke up. So I can't comment. But from what I've seen of it, I need to watch it. But from what I've seen of it and what I heard from other people say, it's a damn good ass movie.
I think Jack Nicholson was truly phenomenal, and I think what I struggle with is who really ruled in this movie, because you had such great acting. You've got Wahlberg, you've got DiCaprio. This was Damon in there. There was no weaknesses in this movie, but I don't think this movie could have been nearly as good as it was if you didn't have that powerful performance from Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
This I would give the closest I could to a 10, so I'll go like a 9.5.
Yeah. I hadn't seen it yet, so I shouldn't give a review, but I will say from what I've seen of it, I get about a 9, 8.59. I got to see the rest, but yeah.
All right. At number 4, and some people might scoff at how high I rank this, but it truly is one of my favorites. Carlito's Way. I'll be honest. I think it aged better over time, opposite of how, in my opinion, Scarface didn't. What I think is really the driving force in this movie is like the quintessential story of how a guy is truly in the life. He comes out of jail on a technicality. He wants to do right. He genuinely wants to do right, but everything keeps forming in front of him where it just seems like he can't get that ultimate break to get out. He reconnects with the love of his life. He has plans to move on. His shady lawyer believes Sean Penn. Let me tell you, Sean Penn killed this role.
Yeah,
as the dirty lawyer.
The dirty.
Yeah, I mean, he even got imitated and replicated in the Grand Theft Auto series.
That's why I'm laughing. Sean Penn, he was so freaking grimy, dude. He looked grimy.
And I'm gonna give Sean Penn another shout out. I didn't list this movie, but definitely check out State of Grace.
Okay, yeah.
Check out The Untouchables.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was gonna mention that earlier. Untouchables.
Definitely check out The Untouchables as well. That definitely deserves some recognition. I'll be honest, I can't put this up in terms of the greatest performances of Pacino's life. When I think about a movie like Scent of a Woman, when I think about his work in The Godfathers, and when I think about The Devil's Advocate. I also loved Al Pacino in Heat. I don't consider Heat a gangster movie. That's why I didn't list it. But Heat was a great one. And the big assist in that one would go to probably, I would have to say Val Kilmer.
Oh, yeah.
But this movie, it does it, man. It's got enough. The chase at the end, which I think is iconic. Luis Guzman, that grind ball in this movie.
I love Luis Guzman, man.
I like Blanco from the Bronx.
Yeah, hey,
young
John
Leguizamo.
It's Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
And we talk about how something that happens in the beginning. You mentioned it a few minutes ago in two different movies. In this movie, making a decision to not kill ultimately cost Carlito his own life.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird because when you look at the old school stuff and how Pacheco was his dude.
Yeah.
And then he does him dirty in this movie. It's kind of wild when you think about his demise.
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy because remember he said, I had a contract on you. And the thing about it, like Benny Blanco from the Bronx, that's how I got my name because I used to just go by Big Bosco.
Yes.
And this chick I know from the Bronx, from my neighborhood, she said, "Look at Bosco from the Bronx." And I'm like, okay.
Kind of stuck.
It stuck. And me and her went to school together, and we linked up on Facebook. We hadn't seen each other since school. She said, "Look at you, old Bosco from the Bronx." When we first connected. And I said, "That's my name."
Well, it definitely stuck. And if you want to hear more about Idris's beginnings, definitely check out an episode I did about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, Fan Focus, where I interviewed Idris Salam, aka Bosco from the Bronx. We had a pretty phenomenal conversation about Idris's roots, as a DJ, as a man who avoided essentially just possibly losing it all at an early age when his mother realized what he was doing with some stuff that was not meant to be for DJing. But you know what? You do the best you could. That story was funny, Idris. That was a funny ass story when you told me how your mom reacted when she found out what you were doing with the furniture. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall just to see how that played out.
Man, look here. There's some things you don't forget.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Oh, man. Damn, we got 2 more minutes. Dang. Okay, let's go.
All right. We are getting into the creme de la creme of my list here. I'm trying to see if I was able to obtain a picture. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of this movie, which they didn't let me keep here on StreamYard, but that's okay.
Damn.
At number 3, we're going Goodfellas.
Hey, I can roll with that.
Okay.
Now, I definitely want to see what number 2 is. I know what number 1 is.
A lot of reasons why I would have this ranked where it is. We talk about authenticity. We keep talking about authenticity. So much of this movie was filmed essentially in my backyard. The iconic scene with Joe Pesci, where he is offed, that was actually in a house that was rented across from my middle school in Long Island.
Really?
Lawrence Middle School, which is in Lawrence, New York.
Yeah.
A few minutes out of Queens, but Long Island. Yeah, Joe Pesci, across the street from my middle school. One of my favorite places to eat when I go home, the Sherwood Diner. The iconic scene where Robert De Niro is smashing up that phone.
The phone booth, yeah.
They show Ray Liotta in another iconic diner, the airport diner there.
Oh, man, I know that.
Yes, indeed. Actually, when I took Brett I think it was back in 15.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to that Patriot Giants game. We actually ate there. That was the last stop we made. And they still had the phone booth there at the time. The phone booth no longer is there.
Oh, snap. That's wild.
But my mother's actually going to New York tomorrow.
Is she? Okay.
Yes. She's going to stop at my house to pick up some keys from my aunt's place.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm sure she'll hit that diner. But, yeah, Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci got Best Supporting Actor here.
Yeah.
1990. The Billy Bats incident.
Yeah.
Actually, in real life, the Pesci character was killed by the Gambinos.
Gambino, yep, sure was.
Michael Imperioli, just to show you some cool references, the character Spider gets shot in the foot.
Yeah.
Mouth's off, then he gets killed.
Yep.
In an episode of The Sopranos, fast forward it, when Michael Imperioli, the character he's playing, Christopher Moltisanti, was in a better situation.
Yeah.
He got heated over waiting for pastries, and he actually took out another kid with the foot shot.
With the foot shot, yep.
And the kid's like, the kid was like, you fucking asshole. He's like, it happens.
Yeah, yep.
He said it happens. That was a Goodfellas reference.
Michael Imperioli,
solid 9.5. Authenticity is a big deal with this.
Yeah.
There's so many good contributions all around the board. Once again, Samuel L. Jackson, a contributor to this on a smaller level before he blew up.
Yep.
The character that Samuel L. Jackson played was actually very close with the character that Joe Pesci played.
Yeah.
And there were accounts that when Joe Pesci had to, kill the Samuel L. Jackson character, he actually said, I hope this doesn't hurt. Yeah. So they say that sometimes it comes from your best friend. And I think in that situation, it was kind of accurate. The Lufthansa heist, pretty cool. Parts of this movie were filmed in Woodmere. The scene where Ray Liotta attacked the dude that was trying to get fresh with Karen.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. A lot of Long Island was filmed in here. Up and down across the airports, Guy Brewer area. This was just a phenomenal movie, man.
Great movie. I loved it, man.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah, I can't count how many times I watched that movie. Even the edited version when they have it on regular TV.
No question. If it's on, I will always watch it.
I will watch it.
And the real character that Liotta played, Henry Hill, ultimately goes into witness protection. Jimmy, the character that Robert De Niro played, there was basically a bounty on Henry Hill's head. And Henry Hill later in life did appear on some shows. Yeah, pretty interesting. Definitely a must watch. But I feel like everybody has had to have seen this movie by now, or at least you hope they did.
I hope they did.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely.
Nothing short of phenomenal. At number 2, I'm going The Godfather 2.
Uh-oh.
This was harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a slam dunk. Well, that's The Godfather 3, my bad. I thought it was a slam dunk that The Godfather 1 would just be a unanimous one. But when I think about the performance that Robert De Niro did, kind of filling in the gaps of a young Vito Corleone.
Yeah.
And then you kind of go into the ascension of Michael, where he's becoming the family boss. Their expansion into Vegas. In the words of Pussy from The Sopranos, the Mo Green special. This movie had it all. You broke my heart, Fredo.
Yeah. Some lines in that one, man. Yeah, I'm
Talia Shire, definitely right place at the right time.
Always.
She played the wife of Sylvester Stallone in the first 5 installments of the Rocky series, the beloved Adrian character.
Yep.
And then she's the mafia princess in parts 1, 2, and 3 of this.
Yeah. I liked her.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Idris.
Yeah.
Who gets the nod in this one? Is it De Niro or is it Pacino?
Damn, man.
There goes our picture.
Damn. I'm gonna go De Niro, man. I'm gonna go De Niro. I wouldn't argue if someone said Pacino, but I'm gonna go De Niro, man. It's yeah, I go De Niro.
We had to wait until Heat, until these two guys shared the screen, like actually in a scene together.
Yeah.
They were also in Righteous Kill together, and more recently in The Irishman. The Irishman, the reason I didn't mention it, my biggest turnoff with that movie, once again, authenticity matters. And there's too many accounts that allegedly the person from the Teamsters who ultimately killed Jimmy Hoffa, that's not how it went down. And that basically killed all the credibility for The Irishman. For me, the other part that bothered me was that timing wasn't on that movie's side because of the worldwide pandemic. As this goes, it's not far behind the original. I think the reason why the original has to get the nod is because it opened the door for this and for all the expansion of the characters. And, you know, even going into part 3, there's a scene in part 1 where you find out how Andy Garcia came to be, his character.
Yeah.
As his father, his illegitimate father, Sonny, who is the brother of Michael, who was murdered in part 1, had a side piece. And that side piece was Andy Garcia's mother. Yes, indeed. And it's a very kind of like a subtle scene.
Yeah, I liked it, man. I think Godfather 2. I mean, I know it's the second part of the Godfather, but it's one of those movies where you wonder if they made one long new movie and said we got to cut it down because it's like perfectly a extension of the first part. To a lot of movies, when you get the second part, it kind of moves away from what the first part did to where this basically, okay, this is how we're gonna continue this movie from where the first one ended off.
And if there were any complaints about this movie, I guess, was it too long, you think? Or did they get it right?
I think they got it right. I think they got it right.
Yeah, there was a lot of character development that needed to happen in this movie. And I think the other part is that you're constantly going back from De Niro building up the Vito Corleone character. I think that most definitely was a telltale of how to develop it. But as much as I love both these actors, I think Robert De Niro gets the golden star for this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I'm a De Niro. I mean, I'm a little biased. I mean, I like De Niro and Pacino.
No question.
The group of De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci, I love that trio.
Yeah,
I love that trio.
Yeah, Francis Ford Coppola, there's a part of me that wants to see if they would ever have the audacity to make a fourth one before everybody's too old.
Yeah.
And did Michael Corleone really die in Hollywood in the way they can do things? You never know.
Yeah.
Shouts out Joey Badass. I'll be seeing you in about a week and a half. He'll be making his grand reappearance on Raising Kanan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he sort of killed off. I was like, nah, dog, I don't believe this shit. Yeah. And after Kanan himself in the Power series wasn't exactly killed off.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he be? 50 Cent played him. I mean, hello.
Yeah, right. Of course.
Yeah. Come on, bro. All right. At number 1, no surprise here. It is The Godfather, the original. James Caan, this character was only in the movie for a short bit, but I think his character was massive. One of the goriest murder scenes in Hollywood up to that point.
Yeah.
Michael Corleone switching over from celebrated American war hero to family business when he had to avenge the attempted murder of his father, Vito, from a dirty cop that allowed it. The hospital scene, especially if it's the first time you ever see the movie, even if it's not the first time, you kind of get anxious, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Him going away and coming back because he had to leave the country. Seeing how horrible Fredo is with a gun. He has no business holding a handgun.
Yeah.
Great movie, dude. This is the standard, in my opinion, of what everything has to be culminated into one big shot.
Oh, yeah.
From the very beginning, the wedding scene.
Oh,
this touched on a lot of different things, man. Behind the scenes, like domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
The rage in this guy, with this guy right here, avenging his sister who was, injured to domestic violence and beating the crap out of her husband.
Yeah.
His wife, the mother of his children, and seeing the transformation from who she saw as a great man to becoming a head of a crime family. There's a lot to take in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But undeniably my top 5 favorite movie of mine all time.
Yeah, it's in my top 5. It's got to be, dude. I mean, that's
if it's on, I'm watching it. It's that simple. If it's on, I'm watching it.
Yeah, it's the foundation of the gangster movies, of the modern day gangster movies, man.
Yes, indeed. And they got a lot of feedback from real mafia families because they wanted to smash on
the authenticity.
I keep saying it.
Yeah.
The authenticity matters.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I know we're up against the clock. The only two. I mean, I agree with your list. I mean, I would shift. I would move A Bronx Tale up to around like number 6. But as for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm cool with those. The two just miss. I'm going with The French Connection. I know it's a little before your time. Gene Hackman.
Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. That was a big loss.
Yeah, and Training Day.
I'm glad you mentioned Training Day because I was thinking about it as we were speaking. I do want to hit on Training Day for a moment. Denzel Washington, a lot of controversy that after playing so many feel-good roles and heroic roles, that he won being the biggest scumbag.
Right.
Now this role that Denzel played was actually based on a police officer that ultimately was Rafael Perez.
Yeah. Yep.
The Rampart scandal. This is linked.
Yep.
This is linked all the way in to the hip hop stuff that we touch on a lot. Talking about Big, talking about Pac. This was all linked in on some level. Ethan Hawke playing a green, oblivious, don't know what the hell he's getting into, wet around the ears rookie. I don't think you could have done better than Ethan Hawke for this role. Tom Berenger was in this.
Yep.
Dr. Dre, when he got punched, I was like, yeah. Snoop Dogg in the wheelchair. I thought he played that role well.
Yeah, I
think it really, once again, authenticity matters. Denzel Washington did a phenomenal job in this.
And the side note from that movie, I don't know if it was the Bloods or the Crips, but I remember him saying how he went to the neighborhood and he paid the actual gang members to be security. And a lot of
he had a lot of people in his pocket.
Yeah, and a lot of them were in the movie. When he went to the hood and went to the girl's house and they had Ethan Hawke in a bathtub. He said a lot of guys in there were actually gang members. He said, but he paid them and they protected the area so they could film. And another side note about Ethan Hawke, when I worked at the Marriott, I met him 3 times. Cool guy. He is so humble. He plays a guitar, acoustic guitar, and he's so laid back, very laid back. Real good dude, man. Real good dude.
Yeah, Training Day, another one of these. If it's on, I'm watching it.
I'm watching it.
Yeah, if it's on, I'm watching it. Denzel really showed his range. It was tough for people to see Denzel as such a bad guy.
He was a bad guy. You know what? He was just as bad in Training Day as Lawrence Fishburne was in King of New York.
And yeah, just ruthless, grimy.
And you know the funny thing, those are the only two roles they both played where they were knuckleheads, grimy as hell.
And on an in-between one, that movie where Denzel played the pilot that was a bad alcoholic.
Oh yeah.
Flight.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I forgot about that one.
This was fun, Idris.
Yeah. We got to do this again.
No question.
We got to do this again.
Let
me make an announcement, everybody. Okay, go ahead.
No, you good, brother. Also going to be hitting on the NFL draft coming up soon.
And you beat me to the punch.
Yeah.
Let's say that. We'll say that too. Also, look for a show within the next few days. We're going to talk about the Shakur Stevenson. The Tank Roach fight and a few other things. There'll be a short show. We'll let you know when it come on. But yeah, we're going to talk a little boxing. We're going to talk a little New York Giants. Being the draft is coming up. Now, I might just hold that off until the draft. And, we're going to see what goes on.
I do want to ask you this, Idris, since you bring up boxing. I touched on it with Shed a little bit about my displeasure in boxing on the whole. I'm not saying that I'm like irate that Gervonta Davis got the nod, but I do think Roach did enough to win the fight.
I did too, man. I've been hearing from people, yeah, but he threw a lot of Roach threw a lot of punches, but he only landed nine more punches. I said, it don't matter. That shows his activity. He was aggressive. He outpunched him. He outlanded.
If there's a rematch, I think that Roach might actually win.
I do too. I said, let's just say the draw was legit. I said, let's just say that. I said, but if you call that knockdown, that should have been a knock. That knee was a knockdown. But in boxing, if you take a knee for any reason, it's a knockdown. It's a knockdown. It's either a knockdown or you quitting. You wave your hand, that means you're done. A knee is a knockdown. And then when he went to his corner and his cornerman came up to the apron, that's a DQ automatically. So Roach should have run right then and then at the end of the ninth. But
how did you feel about the overall decision?
I think Roach still eked it out by a point. 114, 113. I still feel he won by a point, because I would still call that ninth round a 2-point round. Even if they didn't call it a knockdown, you can still call it a 2-point round because of how much he dominated up until
the whole taking the knee thing is something that I think they pick and choose when they want to enforce it in boxing.
Yeah.
Now this came up in conversation as well because we were talking about some old fighters. As you know, Floyd Mayweather finished his career undefeated.
Yeah.
Is there any particular boxer in that same era who Floyd didn't fight that you feel, if they cross paths, would have defeated Floyd? I have one in mind, but I wanted to hear who you said before I drop a name on you.
Doing Floyd's era?
Yes, sir.
I just feel if he caught Pacquiao, if he didn't have a bad show, Pacquiao would have beaten him.
Good possibility. I think that's a strong case. Shed would agree with you because he did share that sentiment on the show the other day. What do you think would have happened if Bernard Hopkins?
I was getting ready to say Bernard Hopkins.
If Bernard Hopkins and Floyd Mayweather cross paths, how do you think that would have played out?
Hopkins would rough him up. And the funny thing about that, man, is Hopkins, when Floyd was yapping about how he can move up and do this, Hopkins accepted a fight. Hopkins said because Hopkins is 160. He said, I can get down to 154. And he said, yeah. Floyd's father said, no, we're not fighting him. Because Hopkins said he'll fight him before he moved up. Yeah. So I think Hopkins would have roughed him up too much, man.
I think Hopkins had the style that would have frustrated a guy like Floyd, because Hopkins was the kind of guy that defensively could match Floyd.
Yeah.
I also think Hopkins, because of his awkward stance could have cut the ring off and forced Floyd to have to fight, where Floyd would have got tagged.
And Floyd can't hurt him. So
I tend to agree.
He's going to walk right through you. Then you can't hurt him. He's going to walk right through you.
And I also believe that similar to how Hopkins was losing the fight to Oscar, but Hopkins was able to land that punch.
Yep.
That winded De La Hoya, and basically, if you can't breathe, you can't get up.
You can't get up.
Oscar was about 2.5. Oscar was about 2 rounds away from winning that.
Yeah,
because he was definitely up on points.
Yeah,
but Hopkins, to his credit, just a crafty ring general, and I think that that's unfortunately something that we didn't see. I think Hopkins may have very well made things tough enough for Floyd, and something that already had happened. Zab Judah had control of that fight before he lost his head. Yeah,
he did. Me and my brother was talking about a couple of fights. I said Marcus Maidana beat him in that first fight. He beat Floyd. And I always go back to the Castillo fight. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch the first fight he had with Castillo. Everybody felt Castillo won.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you think Oscar De La Hoya did enough?
Yeah, I thought he won.
I thought he did too, but I said this to Shed. I feel that from a money-based standpoint, and that Oscar was on the way out, it made more sense for Floyd Sand to get raised.
I thought he won.
I thought he won at minimum. I thought if he did lose, it was literally by 1 point.
Same here. I felt it was close, but I think Oscar had the harder shots, the more effective shots. He applied pressure. He's more aggressive. I call it a close fight, a split decision, but I think Oscar won. I felt Oscar won that fight.
The Victor Ortiz fight, where he made the most fatal mistake of not protecting himself. Do you think he had a legitimate chance up to the point in that fight, or do you think the wheels were already coming off?
I think the wheels were coming off.
I had a feeling that even if it didn't go down like that, Floyd was going to put him down.
Yeah, because he was starting to get away from his game, and Floyd was like just being patient and he's getting rattled. He just started reaching and I think the punch wasn't legal. I mean, it wasn't illegal. I mean, I think it was a little Bush.
It was poor officiating on the part of Joe Cortez.
Yeah,
it was poor officiating.
Yeah, protect yourself.
Floyd actually did not break any rules.
No, he didn't break any rules. No, not at all.
He pissed off Larry Merchant. That was probably the most entertaining part of the night.
That interview is so classic.
And I give Floyd props for being a big man and apologizing to Larry the next time that Larry did a fight.
Yeah.
Larry Merchant, I don't care who you are, that dude is qualified.
I love Larry Merchant.
I love when he said to Floyd, if I was younger, I'd kick your ass.
Kick your ass.
We both know that wouldn't happen, but
no, it wouldn't happen. But the point that he said it in the ring.
That was some good times. Yeah, Jim Lampley.
Yeah. Jim Lampley. He lives. Well, I'm in Charlotte right now, but he lives in Asheville.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still there, but he's from Asheville. Yeah.
I know that a lot of times we talk about the presentation of the NBA on NBC and how many of us miss it.
Yeah.
I would say a close second in the way that sports are covered that I genuinely miss is HBO Sports.
I know, man.
HBO Sports had it down. And I remember back in the day, though, this is after Tyson had lost his title, you used to get back-to-back. You'd get a George Foreman fight followed by the main event, which would be Mike Tyson.
Yep.
And it was just a cool era in boxing, but now, they're asking for $80 for a fight. And quite frankly, I love boxing, but it's just not delivering consistently enough. And when you look at this shit that's going on with Canelo, and you touched on this, that he wants to go mess around with Paul, when you have a qualified person in David Benavidez, that's the fight that the fight fans deserve to see.
That's what the people want.
Because one thing I'll give Tank props for, regardless of whether I think he won or lost the other night, he is at least down to fight everybody.
If you want to fight him, he's going to fight you.
Yeah, and Roach had a great showing no matter how you cut it, and I think that his stock rose. Tyson Fury, is he done?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I tend to agree. I enjoyed watching the Gypsy King's career, but yeah, I think it's time to hang it up.
Yeah, he said he is, and I heard he say he's going to make a comeback, but he just didn't look right, man. And
No, not by any means. And the Bronze Bomber, another guy that needs to step away.
Him and Anthony Joshua, they might be fighting each other.
Well, something could come of that. Because if one of them looks impressive enough, it could be the revitalization of the final stretch. But I personally think both guys, for their own welfare, should hang it up. Because when I think about some of the beatings that Deontay Wilder took at the hands of Tyson Fury, and don't get it twisted, Fury took some power shots too.
Yeah.
But I think about that second fight where he busted his eardrum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I give Wilder credit for having the courage to hang in there. But, there are a lot of effects that come with the post-career of fighters who take too many shots. You saw it with the late, great Muhammad Ali. We've seen it with other fighters. And you don't want to see these guys that were sports heroes, lose their faculties. It's just something that you never want to see, and you hope you don't see, because you hope these guys made enough money and they know when enough is enough.
Yeah.
But until next time, he is Idris. I am Richie. Most definitely, we're going to be power driving on lead-ups to the NFL draft, which is still some weeks away. And, of course, Major League Baseball on the horizon. New York Yankees get themselves a third baseman.
Yes, yo.
Yeah.
Baseball's back.
Yes, sir. Juan Soto donning the orange and blue. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Announcements to come for our next show. If you haven't already, please make it a point, like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Idris, I was revisiting our hip-hop conversation that we did some time back with Zay. And sometimes I do like to revisit shows that we already did to see if there's something that we need to do again. And all I could say is that show was just so much damn fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I want to.
Yeah, we got to do
I want to do another hip hop show. That's where I'm going.
We got to do another one.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right. Idris, thank you. As always, a great job.
Always.
And cousin Aaron, I know you're celebrating, but
come to the show.
Yeah. What's going on, pal?
Bring that. Tell 26 to come on, man.
Speaking of 26, congratulations to him. He is the richest running back contract in the history of the National Football League. The 2-year extension, I think, pretty much extinguishes any belief that he will ever put on Giant Blue again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Tough time to be a Giants fan, but I will say that in this particular draft, so many running back talents that could really bolster the roster. This is a deep draft at a lot of positions. I like a lot of the interior linemen here. I just pray, truly pray, that the New York Giants don't go silly and start trading up. Please don't. You have either an Abdul Carter or a Travis Hunter at 3. Probably Travis Hunter will be there. I'll be honest. I don't see a scenario where Abdul Carter is going to be there, because I believe the Cleveland Browns are taking Carter at 2. The wild card is the Titans. What are the Titans going to do? And I think the Giants just got to let it play out and don't get into that mismanagement of picks, because you could see the New York Jets, the Las Vegas Raiders, even the New Orleans Saints approach Tennessee. Stay away from that Giants. Pick the best player at 3, and you can still get quarterback help in round 2, possibly round 3. And if you're getting Aaron Rodgers, you are basically saying that you're not too endeared with this quarterback class. Do not draft on positional need. Last time we did that, it set the organization back years.
Yes, I agree.
And I'm going to say this as a bitter Giant fan right now. In 2018, you should have drafted the white Josh Allen instead of Saquon Barkley. No knock on Saquon.
Right.
And if you would have drafted in 2019 the black Josh Allen instead of Daniel Jones, we wouldn't be here right now. White Josh Allen, black Josh Allen, no big blue problems.
Right. You're right. True.
And on that note, I'm going to take my salty ass to bed.
Me too. We are out.
Peace.